Hi guys, so today I'm going to teach you the break cue. And what the break cue is it's a great way of interrupting dogs when they're playing, because a lot of dogs when they're playing they get so overexcited and so into it that they can't self-regulate, which means they stop, they calm down a bit and then they go back to play. So what happens is the adrenaline gets higher and higher and the dogs start to get rougher and rougher until the point where one of the dogs is feeling overwhelmed and they're really not enjoying it. So if we can teach them a break cue, what we can do then is interrupt that behaviour at a lower level and gradually let them build up the level of play so that they know no matter what they're doing, if you say that magic word break, they break for you. So it's a really useful tool. I use it with my dogs all the time. And the way you're going to do that, first of all, again, we've got to condition the word. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say break and throw a piece of food away. Oops, it went under the counter. Break. Break. So we're just conditioning the word. We're saying break and we're throwing a piece of food away. Break. Break. So all we're looking for is that association. There's break and then she's going for the food. Break. Break. So continue that. Practice this every day, 30 treats a day, just to get a really strong association. And then we'll move on to step 2. Okay guys, so once you've been working on your break cue, throwing it every time and your dog hears the word break and is looking for the food, we're now going to mark the dog for going for the food. So we're going to throw the food, the dog goes towards the food and we're going to reward the dog for it, okay? So it goes like this. Break. Yes. Break. Yes. She can't find that one, it's gone under something. Break. Yes. So you can start changing direction. So your dog's over here. Break. Yes. So what you're doing, you're redirecting as you turn your body and you say break. The dog's looking for the treat. Break. Yes. Nice. Break. Yes. So make it fun. Get it going in all different directions. The dog is loving targeting that food. It's just a really fun game. But it helps because the dog hears break, doesn't think, it thinks, oh, there's a treat and goes for it. Break. Yes. Break. Yes. Break. Yes. So as you can see, every time I say break, Leah's looking for that piece of food and she's hunting it down, which is great. Okay guys, so once we've worked in our break cue and we've been throwing it everywhere and the dog's getting it everywhere, we now want them to realise that break means come to us to then play the game. So we want our dogs to hear break, obviously, because if they're playing, then we want them to come to us to then activate the game of throwing the treats. So the way we do that is we want to say break, the dog looks towards us and comes towards us. When they're close to us, then we're going to say, oh yes, and then throw the food away to redirect them. So let me show you with Liz. I'm going to throw a piece of food away. Break. Yes. Break. Yes. So every time she comes in front of me, break. Yes. I then reward her by throwing that food. So once your dog is consistently coming to the front of you when you're saying break, you then need to gradually add in breaking away from something. So you could start with like a toy. You could throw the toy out, like a low level toy, and then as your dog's running towards it, you could shout break and start to move backwards. So your dog goes, oh, I know that word, and then it comes in, and then the dog comes in front, good, and then you scatter food away, scatter the food away, sorry. So you want to build it up gradually to your distraction. So remember, you're getting the word first, so the association to the word, which I use is break, okay? So they know that break means food is appearing. Then I start to mark the dog for, I say break, and then when the dog goes for the treat, I mark them. And then the third stage is obviously saying break, the dog comes in, and then you mark in front of you and then throw. So now what we want to do is interrupt them when they are playing. So we'd start at a low level toy, then we'd build up to a higher level toy, and then we would start with a dog. But we would start with a dog either that we know or a dog at the distance. So you can let them on a long line, heading towards the dog, obviously at a distance where they're nice and calm, shouting break. They turn, yes, and then you do a nice good reward, either a treat scatter or some targeting, whichever you need to do in that environment. And then what you're going to do is gradually reduce the distance to that dog. So eventually you'll be right next to the dog and you can say break and your dog's going to break off to play that game. And then obviously then once you've got to that stage, you can then start to build in the play. So you're going to let them play for a few seconds, then you're going to break it. Or if they get really excited, you're going to let them play for literally a second and then shout break, move away and throw the food, and you'll find your dog will break and come and get the food. And then you can gradually build it up to the point where they're playing quite well and you can still break it off. If they're playing like full intensity and they're really over aroused, this isn't going to work because they're too high. So when a dog is over aroused, they're not able to process information as well, so they're almost like they're out of their head a bit, so they're not going to take in that information. So you've got to make sure you use your break cue when they're still at a level they're able to learn, and then obviously if they get over, you need to physically go and get them calmly and just pop them on the lead and take them away. But this is a great way of letting your dogs play for a bit and then breaking them off, doing a scatter feed, then letting them in again. So they're learning, oh, I get to this level, then I get broken off. So they calm down a bit, the other dog's calmer because obviously they're not playing, and they can go in again. So it's a good way of teaching appropriate play, and if you have got dogs that live together, it's a great way of breaking up that play without having to try and grab them and shout at them and all that stuff. So practice that, guys.